You're all aware, I did have a brief conversation with our new city manager, Mr. Keith Touchberry, regarding my concerns. In addition, I want everyone to know I am on a voluntary board and the directors know my feelings about the below subjects in total transparency. It is my understanding the goal of this upcoming workshop is to cut $250,000 from an almost $40 million proposed budget. Some background. The city is known for its residential appeal, walkability, high-rated schools, location, and most importantly, a sense of community. Please note, we must be very aware that our local school enrollment is down, as was this past summer's summer camp sponsored by the city. That enrollment was down also. My points of discussion are as follows. Sandpiper Park, next to our crown jewel, the community center. The rehab of this park has been in the budget for the last few years. The rehab has constantly been kicked down the road in the budget process to keep taxes lower. This must stop. The park is in disrepair. No fault to our city workers trying to maintain it. We have an unpainted piece, a 4x8 piece of plywood to prevent children from falling off the broken equipment. We have stairs on 2 pieces of equipment that go nowhere. There was a tunnel that broke over a year ago. We did have a monkey bar type climbing activity that was one of the most popular attractions, but this was torn down due to safety concerns and lack of replacement parks. As a city, if we are going to attract families, which is the lifeblood of any city, we need to have parks for our children to enjoy and for the equipment to be safe. The park is in a great location next to the C5 building and should be used as an asset to attract families to Cape Canaveral, not the current embarrassment it is to the city. The only people who are affected by this disrepair are our children. Point number 2, the splash pad at the C5 building. This $500,000 infrastructure has been down for the last 10 months, plus or minus. There are many reasons. Current equipment was the wrong equipment purchased to save a few $1,000s, previous director. Had to order new equipment, make a bigger pump house, had to wait for permits to build, etc., etc. How can permits slow down this process? You are a government entity. You have the power to stop construction. You have the power to approve construction. This delay is ridiculous. Yes, I understand that the city lost some employees, but we are still able to allow hotels to be built. The only people who is affected, disappointed, is our children. This past summer was one of the hottest we've had in a long time. In the beginning of the summer, there were dozens and dozens of families walking to the splash pad, only to be disappointed. Then they walked to Sandpiper Park to be disappointed again. Again, as a city that touts we are family friendly, it sure does not seem like we are for the children. Point 3, the $1 million dog park parking lot. The city obviously does not have a money problem. It is how we spend the money. When we can buy a building, tear it down, and make it a parking lot for the dog park just because interest rates were low. Yes, I understand we have future plans for the area, a band shell and other amenities to enhance our Friday Fest activities. That was about 3 years ago. And in the meantime, Merritt Island, Brevard County, can build an amphitheater that is just now ready to open by the Veterans Museum. We are so late to the game. Again, an example of pushing the can down the road, spending money with no current benefits to the community. The 20-year plan is turning into the 100-year plan. Point number 4, the Little League concession stand. We have one field, and this field needs some loving. One field for the concession stand will not raise any significant amount of money for the 30 days a year the field is used. Perhaps $3,000 and that's a high side estimate of $100 per day for at least 3 or 4 man hours of volunteer work. Compare this to the $13,000 to $15,000 total raised in 4 nights at the Friday Fest for the Space Coast Little League. After comparing concession stands at several locations, Cocoa Beach High School, 4 fields, they make $150 a day. Mims, 2 fields, $400 a day. Port St. John, 6+ fields, $800 a day. This was a $300,000+ project, initial cost, until it was recognized as this is nuts. And now using city employees, it will be a $20,000+ project. The Space Coast Little League does not want the concession stand. Why? They cannot get volunteers to run it. The Space Coast Little League needs are the following, and this is from Space Coast. A second field, perhaps at the elementary school, work with the Board of Education to get that done. A batting cage, that's in the budget, with lights to attract players. This is a must-have. The concession stand is number 3 on their list. What the field needs is as follows. The removal of the sand spurs in the current outfield. Updating the dugouts. A sound system to announce the batters and walk-up music. Air conditioning in the press box. Outfield distance signs. Outfield warning track. We must understand what the field upgrades will mean to Space Coast Little League. The life of any sports center activity is based on participation. Why do parents choose an organization over others? 1, quality of coaches, quality of team, quality of the environment, the field, batting cages, equipment available, teaching aids, fun game environment. This is what attracts players, not hot dogs. If you disagree with this statement, please discuss with our mayor. Did his daughter choose a team based on hot dogs or the quality of team and training available? As a side note, I have forwarded to Ms. Thomas and Mr. Mayberry photos of a single Little League field and how that was redone with picnic tables, bike racks, etc. Here are several questions that we must ask ourselves on the concession stand. What type of vetting did the city do to build this? What vetting was not done and why? Is this project a nice to have or a must have? Is $3,000 at best a good return on investment for $20,000? Mr. DeLeo, can you answer? I figure the ROI on this is a negative 85%, which is a significant loss. Why was this pushed through so quickly in a matter of weeks when we can't get the splash pad up and running almost after a year or Nancy Hansen building repaired? Even the pickleball tennis courts are being fixed before the splash pad. Oh, not many children play there. Was there any pressure exerted to build this so quickly? Is it being built to be dedicated to anyone? Whose backs were scratched on this? What are the costs associated with this project, current year to date, and projected finished costs? We need to see the materials, labor, etc. if it's truly only $20,000. This $20,000 could have gone to additional Moby mats at our beaches to make an L shape so the wheelchair-bound individuals do not block other people trying to walk to the beach. My questions are, when is the city going to stop kicking the cans down the road so we accomplish some of our collective common goals? Thank you.
On the agenda is to approve or amend the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes from the July 31 regular meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look over those?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 31st regular meeting.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
A note to interview the applicant for the poet laureate and consider a recommendation. Yes, please. State your name and
Hello? Okay, it's working. Hi, I'm Luke Asley Heron. I'm here to interview for the Poet Laureate.
Awesome. We have your application and your letter of introduction.
Yes,
So you were in Minnesota for a little while?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you very much, sir. I love it here.
How long have you lived here?
I've lived here about a year.
Okay.
My father's lived here a bit longer.
Okay.
I'm in the village of Seaport right now. He has 2 homes there, actually. So he has one, and I have one, and
Okay.
we're working through that.
Fantastic.
I live there also.
I'm sorry, ma'am?
I live there also.
Oh, wonderful. I'll see you around.
Yeah.
I had a chance to read your poems. Which one do you enjoy reading the most?
Do you mind reminding me which poems I submitted?
Okay. Yep.
Sorry,
We
I
got-
haven't
no,
been
no,
able to
that's
see the
good.
handout.
You probably have more than what you submitted to us, but Jiffy,
There's
did.
several.
Oh, Jiffy.
Jiffy's
Okay.
one, Dreamer,
Thank you.
Shapeshifter Goals,
Okay.
my favorite, Lamel's Pal,
Right.
Thank you very much.
a Disney-like spell, which I could see where you're going with that,
Thank you.
and
A lot of teen stuff in that, but
yeah, those are the ones you submitted to us.
okay. Well, I would say Dreamer out of all that one. I don't know if that's my favorite out of those. I think Lamel might actually be. But I think Dreamer best represents for this meeting.
Okay.
And I say that because I think whether as a nation, whether as a country, a county, whatever we're talking about, I think a lot of people have forgotten the point of dreaming. I think that we have a lot of opportunities we don't see. I think that we define impossible when the whole point of dreaming is seeing what's impossible. I think the word impossible used to be defined by what can be next, not what can't we do. Now it's almost a sense of comfortability.
It's good. Thank
Thank
you.
you. That's why that poem is very important to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
I actually have 3 questions.
Okay, shoot.
A poet laureate is both an artist and an ambassador. How would you make poetry accessible to the people who don't normally read or write?
I've thought about this a lot, actually. When I was thinking about applying for the position and making sure it could work for me and I could definitely be here to serve and do everything that comes along with the position, I talked to some friends and family. And for me, making sure that poetry is available to all, accessibility is a key word you're mentioning. Accessibility, whether it's physical accessibility, whether we're talking about people who typically don't get the opportunity to learn about the value of word. I know one way I want to go about doing that is going into schools. And I remember when I was a little kid, I used to go to something called movie night on the beach. I'm thinking about doing poetry night on the beach.
Oh, cool.
I think we have a lot of opportunities like that, especially in the city of Cape Canaveral. I mean, we're on the beach. I think, Brad, you actually mentioned it's very walkable. I think that's definitely one of the perks. So I think really opening the gates of poetry to not just people my age, but throughout our county of Brevard, throughout our city, I think we have a lot of area to ground and cover.
If appointed, what themes or issues would you most want to highlight through your work?
You ask somebody that same question my age, typically, and they'll typically give you an answer.
Ask you what your age is.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just saying. You ask somebody the same question, that same prompt, my age. They're typically going to talk about social issues, political issues. For me, the best poetry escapes politics. The best poetry transcends how somebody's thinking. Yeah. I'm sorry. What was your question again? Do you mind reminding me?
No, I thought you answered it.
Okay.
I thought that was great.
Perfect.
And my last one is, how would you balance honoring the city's traditions with introducing new voices and perspectives?
I think.
Softball questions are.
No. I like them. Okay. You guys are on the board for a reason. You guys are more experienced with the city. I definitely love to get your guys' inputs, but also, I mean, at our Cape Canaveral gym, we have pickup games, we have pickleball, we have a lot of different options, especially with kids involved at my age. Adults who are a bit older, from around the age, I would say about 18 to 30. I would say we can really spark an arts movement if I spread the word through those. Friday night pickup games, we have about 20 people there, sometimes more. If I just get one person to come to an event, I know I can bring more. So that's one of the ways I know I want to go about spreading, but definitely also with some of the people like my father. My father is of senior age right now. I know he spread it to his friends, and I know anything I back, he's gonna back. So I think spreading the word kind of through all age ranges would be a great way to do that. Thank you, sir. Any more questions from anybody?
I would like to see something, and you probably can tell me if you thought about it, just having like poetry slams with high school kids,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, especially when you're feeling so creative and want to share your feelings with so many people, that I would think that high schoolers would be a great set of people to work with and have, a Friday night thing like at the Cape Center or
Absolutely.
something, where it's kind of like a competition, but it's also a creative outlet.
I think the idea that art has no right or wrong really plays into that question. Mm-hmm. Because you mentioned winning, I know that's not what you meant, but I think just sharing is a win. Mm-hmm. And I think if I can get into schools, if I can make it a point to connect with peers my age, but any age range, I think I can really bring people our way. And the current monthly meetings at the Cape Center, mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to hosting those if I get that chance. And I cannot see any reason why not to expand on that event. I mean, we have once a month right now. If we're going to make an art movement, we need to do weekly meetings. Mm. We need to have them in different places, not just our wonderful Cape Center, but on the beach, maybe at an ice cream parlor, or maybe at store openings. Sorry. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
Madam Director, Mr. Director, question. If this gentleman is approved, what are your thoughts about at the Friday Fest, Trunk or Treat? He creates the poet laureate of Cape Canaveral creates a new poem for that monthly Friday Fest, and we have Trunk or Treat coming up. Maybe there's an opportunity for a Halloween poem to introduce a poet laureate to the citizens of Cape Canaveral and get a little groundswell. I don't need an answer. It's just something to throw out there with Luke's suggestion of going to an ice cream parlor, going on the beach. It just maybe ties everything in.
I'm totally behind that, by the way. You mentioned, what you were mentioning. I think the idea of doing events and being involved in events that really... Sorry? Oh, sorry. I think really being involved in any events that can unite us kind of as a family with regards to Cape Canaveral City. Friday Fest, you see anybody there. Mm-hmm. Everybody. That's where I want to bring my poetry. So I appreciate that idea.
We had a poet laureate 5 years ago. Tim was the last. Was it Tim?
Yeah, it was Tim.
And then is he currently the poet laureate still, or do we not have
No,
one?
he termed out in April.
Okay.
We have been actively searching for a poet laureate since January.
Got it. Perfect.
So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Luke, I love your zeal, man.
Sorry, sir?
I love your zeal. You're excited about poetry and arts, and
Thank you very much,
it's
sir.
awesome. It's contagious.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And just make sure you get it to the little ones over at Cape
Absolutely.
because they are learning to read and write, and I've got an 8-year-old over
Really?
there, and, yeah, they do all kinds of things.
I think I've coached tennis.
They love that.
Thank you. I've coached tennis growing up. I'm actually a certified tennis pro with the USTA, so I can go work at different places, and I've been offered pro jobs. But one of the things I've realized is that when you get people young, like those little kids, 5 to 8, they're picking up stuff quicker than anybody. So if we really want to make a movement, we would start in the elementary schools, high schools, and then also expand on those areas where we're finding everybody in our culture. Thank you.
Luke, question.
Yes, sir.
What's the difference between the spoken word and poetry? Or is there a difference?
So the spoken word kind of sects into poetry. It's a form of it. At times, poems are very succinct or have a rhythm to it or have kind of a gravitas, as opposed to the poems that you're doing when you're doing spoken word. It's going to have gravitas as well. But sometimes you're using less verbose vocabulary to really get your point across. You're using more emotion, more straightforwardness, kind of getting somebody to invest in you that way. Thank you. Is that all? I'd love any more questions if you guys want some.
Got the winning lottery numbers?
I'll get back to you.
Vote to recommend?
Yes.
No, if we need to do that just us,
We
He's the only applicant.
Okay.
consider a recommendation to the city council.
And he meets all eligibility requirements.
Fantastic. Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful I actually got to stand up doing this because I was a bit nervous, so getting to move around a little bit, it helped. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. Well, if you guys have any more points of discussion, we can do that. Or if not, I would motion to recommend Luke for the poet laureate position and recommend him to city council.
I second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need to take roll for that one? Okay. Okay.
4. Brad Purvell. 4. Kathy Parks. 4. And Joel Fair.
4.
The next thing on our agenda is to get an update on the community garden. And we'll figure out what we want to do with that.
All right. So, circling back on a little bit of the history, and this is all provided in the agenda summary, but we started this discussion last year when they started building a car wash 10 feet away from the garden. it took forever for them to get the car wash done. And a couple months ago, I had the opportunity, we had a new building official, and I was giving him a tour of our facilities so that he could get a handle on what we needed from him and the types of facilities that the city maintained outside of the one that he works in. And the vehicle we were in was filthy. So I took the opportunity. I said, hey, I need to check out this car wash. I'm going to get out real quick. Can you run it through? So I stood at the front when he pulled in, and then I went to the other side and stood at the other side when he came out of it. It was a very average western breeze, and there was minimal to no impact of overspray or anything like that. I was actually rather surprised. However, that doesn't change the fact that if you are coming to the garden and you are bringing tools and you are not on a bicycle, you are parked illegally. There is no actual parking at Patriots Park, period. So if you are there and you are in a vehicle, you are either parked in the right-of-way illegally or you are parked on someone's private property, which is also not authorized. So the bottom line with the garden is that if we want to keep it, it's going to need to be moved. And the original garden concept, when it was first installed circa 2017, 2018, was that it was going to be completely volunteer-led and volunteer-maintained, and that has not happened. We have, like any of the organizations that we work with, whether it be Little League or soccer or even, the PTO, the consistency of we'll say the product that comes out is only as consistent as the group. So you'll have a couple people that come in, they do a great job, they maintain their beds, they're very engaged, and then they either move, get sick, pass away, leave, are physically unable to continue doing the things that they've been doing before, and then all of a sudden we've reached a point where, okay, so now these beds are not being maintained, now this is not happening. So the city has had to step in and do its best to maintain, despite all of this roller coaster of engagement, non-engagement, maintenance, no maintenance, and it's just not feasible in its current location and its current structure. We can't rely on volunteers to maintain everything. So your guidance on whether or not you want to sunset the program completely or relocate, we're eager to hear your thoughts on that.
Do you
And the
think
city
if we-
manager has been speaking with the individual council members, because that's something that ultimately they need to be aware of too, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that get the phone calls when things happen. So, yeah, we wanted your thoughts, and I told the city manager that I would be presenting this to you guys tonight, and he's looking forward to hearing what your feedback is, your recommendation.
If it was relocated to a place that had parking and easy access, is there enough of an interest that you think volunteers would come out, or it's been so long since any more than those couple of volunteers that really people don't even really think about it now? But would a new place with ease of access and parking make a difference?
I believe it would.
I think it would have to, because when I first looked at it, it's like, where am I supposed to park?
Right.
To get here?
Right.
There's no parking everywhere. There's absolutely no place to go.
Yeah, making it more accessible, I think, would give it a better chance, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about a wholly volunteer effort, it's going to come back on the city at some
Right.
point. So we do have a new city manager. The city manager that was here when the garden was installed, he kind of had a stance where he didn't like to put his hand out. He didn't really support the idea of widespread sponsorships. So they never actually secured anything steady to guarantee that future for it. Our current city manager, and obviously this is a very new world that we're in compared to 2018, I believe have a better appetite to seeking community engagement as far as like a adopt a garden type of sponsor, but also giving the garden more of a purpose than here's a box of dirt. Like that's what it is now. It's okay, do you have the ability to grow things on your property? No, I live in a third floor condo. So here's a place where you can grow fruits and vegetables and pollinators, et cetera. So developing an engagement program in support of that, in addition to maintenance, would also be necessary. So the location would be a step in the right direction, at least in increasing visibility and accessibility, but there's more than just moving it to a new location.
Question. One, is there any way we can rezone to put parking there on the south side of Patriots Park?
There has been a couple different projects proposed for, I believe that is, what's the name of that road, John? Long Point. And one of the projects that was proposed was similar to what was done on Oak Lane, where they would actually be putting in a proper curb and repaving. And part of the discussion on that was, hey, can you squeeze in a couple parking spaces right here for Patriots Park? And that project was not funded.
Okay. Second question. You've mentioned that sometimes the people who are taking care of the garden get promoted. So that leads me to believe that perhaps we somehow can create a mentoring program. And you mentioned that sponsorship is not out of the question. We have Ace Hardware in our community there that has a small garden center, and they're very knowledgeable. Perhaps we can start a mentoring program with some of our seniors, tying in with the elementary school and even Cocoa Beach High School if they have a horticultural program, and tie all that together. But my question is on that, who leads that search? You guys, and I use you guys generically, are spread so thin. Okay, I mean, you do the website, you do the monthly letter, you print this stuff, you do the C5, you do Nancy Hansen, yada, yada, yada. So who leads that search to get that done? And is the squeeze worth the juice?
That has always been the conversation, because you have, just like Little League, and you've been very involved in youth sports, when you have a couple good parents, you have a couple good years. And then when those good years are over, then it's going to be less engagement, and it's going to fall down to the city, and then we have to build the program back up again. So it would be on staff to solicit the volunteers, to develop the programming, to do the scheduling, in terms of what's happening when. So the idea of a wholly volunteer program, regardless of what it is not feasible, in my opinion.
Okay.
At least not sustainable for the long term.
Right. Last question. If you know the parks much better than everyone else, and the city much better than everyone else, and let's eliminate the problem about lack of volunteers, lack of sponsorship. That's not an issue. In your guys' opinion, where would a city garden fit best?
Without having to do a bunch of prep to include removing trees, because that is one of the challenges. You do need a little bit of shade, but you can't have too much shade, and everywhere we have, a little open space, we have beautiful trees that
Right.
wouldn't be sacrificed for something like that. The only place that does not have a solid tree canopy that has parking that is accessible to the majority of the city. And when I say that, I'm not counting Banana River Park, because that's not what I consider accessible to the majority of the city, because most people especially when they first move here, don't even know that Banana River Park belongs to the city because they think they're turning into Porto Del Rio. And they turn around real quickly because they think that they've just ventured into to private property, even though there's a sign and it's very clear and it's, written with 1-inch letters. It still seems weird when you're pulling back there. So I would say Canaveral City Park would be the most appropriate place in terms of parking, proximity to the community center, because that would be the engagement point. Like if you were doing meetings, program, demonstrations, that would be a natural place to do that at. But other than that, the elementary school did at one time have its own little community garden. Yeah. Yeah, so they had their own thing going. I don't know how long, I don't know what the status is now. I haven't seen it since I was there about a year ago. So, and I know how quickly a garden can go downhill without long time maintenance. But yeah, the school did have its own garden for a little while. I'm not
And
sure
that's
the
really
status.
August through June.
Right.
Or May, whatever.
Right.
One of the points that you have on here is the last community garden cleanup only had one person in attendance. When was that?
Amy? I know it was on the spring solstice, but I don't remember if that was.
Okay.
Amy Lee and I came out, only one member of the garden showed up.
Okay.
Amy Lee and I did a lot of weeding and tried to clean it the best that we could.
Yeah, I only ask, I know that we've tried to do a couple at Veterans Memorial Park too, in the bed there, and that one was lightly attended, but when they're in the summer, it's really hot. So like trying to get some of the folks, whether they're older or younger, to get out there in that heat can be very difficult. So yeah, that's why I was asking, just because I saw that point on there.
Yeah, consistency is our biggest challenge when it comes with engagement, but that's everything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, you can go up and speak.
If you guys were to continue doing the garden idea, I could write a poem for each flower or for each piece. I don't mind doing that. And then I can post on social media about the garden, bring more people there, and then I can also keep mentioning it to all my friends in the area. So that's just an idea. All right, thank you.
So basically, if we were going to continue the garden, we need to select a new location, and then we need to develop a program that the city is willing to support regardless of the level of.
And what does that support consist of, Madam Director? I mean, are you going to have Ian and those guys pull the weeds out of those things? That kind of defeats the purpose.
And that is the exact challenge.
Here's my biggest concern, okay? Who leads the charge to get sponsorships? For example, off the top of my head, Ace Hardware, they're very knowledgeable. Who can benefit from this is Sunseed Co-op, naturally grown fruits and vegetables in this garden. And now they could buy it from whoever's growing it or donate it through Sunseed to the homeless. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but who leads the charge, and who in your organization and our organization has the bandwidth to do that?
Those are two different questions, because the first answer would be Amy, and then you asked about bandwidth, and she'll be the first to tell you that her bandwidth is running very low.
Well, you need to talk to Microsoft and get a new server. All right.
Yeah, because Amy's role as the community engagement manager is obviously very broad, especially when you're in a small organization like this. But for her to be able to solely host that would be problematic, especially when you have times where you have lower participation, lower engagement, or when you're having to rebuild after, say, a season and somebody leaves and doesn't come back. So there's a lot of moving pieces to it. And then at the end of the day, when somebody stops coming and doesn't tell us that they're not going to be doing anything anymore, how long do we wait before we clear out the bed and get it tidied up? That's always been an issue.
Last question. Is this a must-have or nice-to-have?
I don't think it's big enough to ever be a must-have.
Okay.
So if we were to recommend to not keep the program going forward, and in 6 months, someone comes and says, hey, nothing's going on with the community garden at Patriot Park, and we would say, we stopped the program because of lack of engagement and people's participation. If you could find 20 people that would want to spearhead that, we would think about, restarting the program, maybe in a different place, because I think that what you need is that spearhead prior to coming up with a plan to move it, investing time and money into moving it, particularly if those people had a vision for it, then their vision is going to be in a particular way in place. And so then they could come back to the board and say, we would like to restart the program with these volunteers, and we think that it would be good to do it in this place, and we know that the city has done this in the past. And the program could just go into a hibernation period where it's not funded, we're not putting effort towards it, until some folks in the community together come and say, hey, we want to do this, and we want to spearhead it, run it, put in the man hours to do it. That would be my recommendation for us to take to city council, to say, it looks like, from what we can tell and from what we've seen in our agenda, there is a lack of participation, and there is a lack of point people that would want to run want to continue the program. We love the idea. It's great. Like that kind of community is fantastic, and that's what we're all about. The problem is we have limited resources, and if there's not people that are already coming alongside of this thing, we don't have the resources to continue it as is. So we would recommend, disbanding the program, or at least taking in some sort of hibernation period where we're not going to send any resources to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like the hibernation period or hiatus.
Because really the only way to get it started again would take kind of publicity from the city to put it out, like say in their newsletters, hey, we'd like to restart the garden, looking for volunteers, and we're going to have it in an easy place that's accessible and has parking, and then see how many volunteers come. But as in any volunteer-led group, if they start falling off, it still ends up back in your hands again.
But then we could sunset it again and bring it back when the generation and the time is right. And one of the things that at least removing the current infrastructure does is it frees up a little bit of property over there that the city does own that can be very easily adjusted to accommodate 1 or 2 parking spaces, so that people that are coming to use the park are not parked illegally as well.
Yeah, as I was thinking through it, the one thing about sunsetting the program would be that you can't just leave it. Like,
No,
because it
no.
becomes blight very quickly.
Yeah, it's already there.
And so it's still going to require resources even to tear it down or to leave it, at a minimal. And so I just don't know how you would be able to do that.
The planters are all most of them, I think, are rusted out, aren't they?
They had started to replace some of them, but good lumber is good lumber, and that's kind of what my eye's on, because we do have fences that can be repaired with what we can salvage from that. So everything can be repurposed, and anything that can't be directly salvaged and usable at that time would be easily replaced at a later date. When the community garden was originally installed, there was a big energetic push, not only from a lot of the local residents, but also some of the leadership that was involved in. One of the council members, for those who are unaware, our council members are compensated, but it's a very small amount annually. We're talking like $1,000, $1,500. And I don't remember what it was at the time, but the council member, Brendan McMillan, took his annual compensation from the city and donated it for the creation of the garden. And that, for when you're just talking about a little bit of sheet metal, a little bit of lumber, that $1,000 went a long way. So it wouldn't be much to get it started again. You would just need to have the interest and the support and as much of a commitment as you can. And maybe getting the businesses involved early in that process would be a better guarantee for the future of the program.
I'm okay with being wrong too. Like if we make that recommendation to the council and then suddenly, everybody comes out and says, no, we want that. Like that's actually what we're hoping for. That they would be engaged so that they would want to do it. So if this is what spurs that on, I'd be okay with that too, Yeah. And so,
And I'd be willing to work on it, but I'm not gonna lead it. and
Right.
Do the whole thing.
Oh, I was about to write your name down.
Well, I was just sitting here thinking about how long he's now growing carrots for a horse or for a donkey and sunflowers on my balcony. So, we do that stuff.
How tall
Well, if
is your
you're willing to
balcony?
volunteer for that. I'm willing to volunteer to work with Amy to go to some of the businesses. I can't go to the business as a representative of the city, but Amy can. And I'll be more than happy to we can put a program together, and I'll be more than happy to present the program to get sponsorships.
And I'm happy to sit down and brainstorm with Amy.
I'm taking some of your bandwidth.
everybody
We're
noticed and everybody just started giving
all
you.
those different businesses to drum up support.
But I like Joel's idea about sunsetting the program and see what the council.
Right.
What the council recommends. We need to put a positive spin why we're going to put this program on hibernation, using Joel's term, to the public. And then in the weekly report, explain to everyone the program's on hiatus. We're going to find a new location, but we are looking for more interested volunteers
We want volunteers.
to continue the program. Yeah.
The new location, obviously, the current design of the garden takes up as much usable space as you can with that footprint. Like, you can't do much else there, because you are abutted right against, it fills the whole space. So a new location could lend to a different design, which could lend to alternate programming and other abilities for the space and for the program as well. So,
What about where the shuffleboard courts are? Is there too many oak trees there?
there's a lot of trees there, but I think one of the things that has been discussed, and I don't know if it made it through the budget, it's obviously not for the immediate fiscal year, was removing shuffleboard to allow for an expansion of pickleball. It's a little biased.
All have to get along. And I want another baseball field. You guys are so funny.
Yeah, a motion wanted to be made.
Yep. I would motion that we propose to council to sunset the program unless there's public outcry and volunteer to support the program. And then if they get that's the end of the motion.
I'll second it.
Mary Mascara,
4.
Brad Purvell,
4.
Kathy Parks, and Joel Fair.
4.
So what I will let the city manager know tomorrow is that this board has recommended a temporary hiatus for that program, and waiting for a new garden champion to emerge. And then we will recreate the program in a manner that's fitting at that time in a better location that improves accessibility and purpose. It is.
You know, if it was in a place like somewhere on the, outside of the C5 where people can see it, where it's actually part of all the stuff going on, would probably even be more of an incentive, because people would see it, come over and realize, oh, that's something I can do. There's parking here.
Right.
I think where it was located, the garden fit there, but to me, it always seemed like a difficult location.
Yes.
You had to be really want to be, right.
Yeah, with your shovels and garden implements, you need to walk down A1A. It's kind of a tall ask.
And carry all your dirt and your.
I think by us not recommending a new place either, it gives them ownership when they would come in and say, yes, we do want this thing to happen. And they get to have the vision of where it could go and make the suggestions and really run with it, and not be confined to whatever we would recommend to start off. So I think sunsetting the program is the way to go.
I'll let John go first. He's got the big stuff.
Okay, splash pad update. There is no update other than the application for our permit for the modification is in the hands of the Department of Health at the state level, not at the city. City has nothing to say about the permit. They have 30 working days to review, approve, or reject. Right now, tomorrow will be 20 days. I've spoken with the county representatives, and they say that historically, they look at this like they may have a couple of questions that they want to review. So we're waiting. We haven't heard anything from the state yet. They haven't at the county level, but that's where that is. All the parts are here. Everything is ready to go. We're just waiting on the word from the state that we're clear. And it's because of the water that's out there, that's reclaimed or. Yeah. The reason the Department of Health gets it is because we've got reclaimed water out there so close to it. And they have to determine that we've got the right amount of gallonage per minute flowing through there. And the recirculating tank is all working. All that has already been vetted. And like I said, they're just going down and checking their boxes. So I can't imagine anything that would hold it up, but I'm not up there in their office. But that's where we are with the splash pad. The concession stand is remodel is about 90% complete. We've got the window installed today. We have a stainless steel table and sink. We've got the building plumbed, so they'll have water inside to clean up with. We have, like I said, a window that was installed today for serving. We we're very lucky with the building official that we have now. He came over when we poured the concrete sidewalk. Everything is ADA compliant, so everybody has access to it. The next step is going to be installing the air conditioning. As Brad mentioned in his letter, there is a working PA system in the building. The scoreboard is brand new. We just purchased it last year, but the building is so hot, as Joe will attest, nobody can stand sitting up there long enough to do it. But we have the infrastructure there for the thing to work, so those things are on hand. So we've got to have purchased a mini split AC unit, so we'll have one condenser on the back side of the concession stand, and each floor will have its own system upstairs. So the main thing is getting the bottom finished up. We're 95% there, and then we're going to go upstairs and do some minor touch up there. So that's where we are with that. With the window, we had to cut part of the dolphin mural, but we've saved that. We have an employee on staff who has agreed to go out. He's an artist, and he's agreed to go out and match that up. So we'll still have the dolphin there. We'll try to cover up that black stain that the visitor we had splattered all over it. So that's where we are with that. Was there something else you? Okay. Any questions for me?
I have a comment.
Okay.
The brilliance of having those dugouts and per Mr. Pavel's statement about they do need some work, especially the one on the first base side. But the brilliance of painting those and having the artists come in and do that, still people will stop and take pictures in front of it, and it's fantastic. So that's amazing, and I just want to commend you guys for the way that happened, and that it's still stopping people in the street, taking pictures, enjoying the art. It's really, really good.
Molly and I did a walkthrough this past week, with the maintenance guys, with the dugouts, what we can do in there. And Brad has done a walkthrough with Ian in the past, so he's already got an idea, and it's all workable stuff. With a lot of the materials we need to do, we already have on hand. So it's just a question of getting to it, with 3 guys and having to stop and go take care of other things. But nobody's got any other questions. That's all I've got.
My turn. I will start with the reintroduction of Miss Mary Lou Stant. For those, you guys made the recommendation. Council went ahead and made it a reality. So she is currently the first alternate for this board, and she's about to get a promotion. I don't know if you knew that. Tonight is the final meeting for Chairperson Kathy Parks and former Chairperson and current board member Joel Fair. So thank you both for your service. I know you won't be strangers, because I can count on you as very loyal and committed and consistent volunteers. We look forward to hearing your public outcry about the garden soon. So beyond that, we will be putting in an agenda item for council to appoint Mary Lou to one of those now vacant positions, and we are now in the hunt for at least one other full-time member and now 2 alternates. So the alternate program has actually served this board really, really well, and I hope that we can continue getting enough people so we can get a little bench depth and keep that community dialogue going for that. That aside, the chair and vice chair elections will be held at our January meeting. We only have 1 meeting left for this year, and it's the one in November. It'll be the week after. Could you confirm? Is it the week after Thanksgiving or the week before? It's the week before. Okay, yeah, because our Thursday date always falls on Thanksgiving, so the November meeting is always a day different than what we normally would have our meeting. tennis court project is underway. They seem to be moving at a snail's pace, but it's more action than we've seen in a long time, so we're very excited. We also, in addition to having the courts redone, it doesn't make sense to have the courts done and then put in old net poles again, so we have new ones on order. They look really nice. I asked our maintenance team, and then I asked, if you've never met her, there's a director of Public Works named June. She's been with the city for, I'll be nice and say 34 years, maybe 35. I asked her when she thought those poles were installed, and she didn't remember. So at that point, I abandoned all hope of trying to find parts for them and just opted to go get new poles, because they would look really shoddy if next to brand-new courts. So looking, yeah, and then never mind their functionality. So those will be installed as soon as we have the opportunity. The roof project at the Nancy Hansen, the bid opportunity closed today. We've got 2 that we're actively considering that are under review. We need to work with our engineers that helped us with the design to get their thoughts on which one of these 2 will provide the best bang for our buck and the most longevity and the best warranty. But that's about it for current available information. Oh, yes. And now for Amy's pitch.
Yes, here's my pitch. So last year, we did. We had a good time. So I need volunteers. And I'm also looking, ooh, I scared myself. I'm also, directional Draculas. Those are just people to assist. They're just
Pointing.
volunteers that can assist, because we're gonna be doing it at a different location this year, because of the construction at Nancy Hansen. So it's really just people to assist, directing people to the haunted library, or answering questions, or showing them where the restrooms are, those kinds of things. But I am also looking for assistance in judging the trunks for the prizes and the kids contest, which I think Brad did last year. You guys had a good time with that. So if that's something that you would be interested in, please, please, please let me know, and I will get you on the list.
What's the date?
The date for that is Friday, October the 17th, and it is from 6 to 8 p.m.
Where's it being held at?
We're going to do it at C5 this year, because Nancy Hansen is not really a safe environment for small children to trunk or treat at the moment. So this year, we're going to do it at C5, and then we'll move it back next year.
And I can elaborate on that since you're directly across the street from there. The southern parking strip and the southeast corner parking strip are where we're going to be doing the trunks. Cars will be backed in. They will not be backed in all the way. If you've noticed, those are incredibly deep spots, so that it will allow for the kids to walk behind the cars instead of on the side of the street.
Oh, so the cars will be backed in where the sidewalk is. That's a great idea.
Except for the part that the sidewalk zigzags, so they're going to have to pull out a little bit. We were really excited until we looked at the aerial. But we can still work with it, and BCSO is helping support, and the DJ will be set up, and we will have the field kind of visibly fenced in. We won't call it truly fenced in, but at least visual barriers, so that the kids kind of keep the dance party in the dance party area.
Guys, can I ask you a question? This is totally personal, has nothing to do with this, okay? I don't know if you know, but typically I have a pretty big Halloween display on my property. Joel, you've seen that,
I'm not sure, this is just me coming from a different place. Where I grew up, the county and/or the city would select what night trick-or-treating happened in the city. And it was never on Halloween proper. It was always like the Saturday prior or something like that. We also, and every year we field questions from new residents, and they say, when is your beggars night? And I say, I know what you mean, but they don't do that here. So one of the things that we were discussing, because we had very lengthy discussions with the library, because the library and us are working together the library's still doing their haunted library. They're going to start it an hour before we start the trunk or treat, and they're going to end it an hour before we end the trunk or treat. And they're going to help with the help of Crossing Ghouls, which are some of our BCSO officers, and the Directional Draculas in getting people to and from. It's only a 2-block walk, but having houses in between, I wondered how the attendees are going to navigate that if they're going to try to trick or treat in between those two times. So we're not promoting it as such, but if you want to have it up and the decorations up, it'll be on the 17th.
Skeletons climbing up oak trees.
Oh, God.
You might want to get started.
So you'd be okay?
I would be okay with that.
Oh, see, she's hitting on me now. Let's know where I live.
My daughter is wild about Halloween. We go out of town to look at some of the.
Maybe one day we can get to the point where we have an established evening where people can count on their doorbells ringing until a certain hour and not after that. Did you mention your beer booth?
Ooh, not yet, because we got sidetracked on Halloween. The city, as you know, is also in charge of the beer booth, October, November, and December for Friday Fest. Again, I am once again begging for volunteers to come help us facilitate that. I've gotten some, we now have a volunteer newsletter, so if you'd like to sign up for that, you can. Once a month, at the beginning of the month, I send volunteer opportunities, whether it's beach cleanups or events or whatever we're doing, so that citizens can get involved. I'm up to 53
Wow.
people receiving the newsletter, and I'm still here begging for participation. But it is
What is the skill needed for the beer?
can you count money?
Okay.
And if you can't,
We don't have to do the push thing.
no,
We're just
we
counting money.
serve in cans, right? We
Oh.
pop tops. Can you pop a top and pour?
And you don't have to do both. You could just do, if you're just comfortable doing the money part, you can
just
do
serve,
that.
or you can just pour. I'm okay with that, right? I will fill in, or if you prefer, you can go around and meet your neighbors and ask them for their ID if they don't look old enough to buy beer, and give them a little wristband, because they have to have one in order to purchase beer. So there's lots of opportunities over the next few months to give back. And, what day is that? Yeah, it's always the first Friday, so
Yeah.
October 3rd, and November 5th? 7th, okay. And then the first Friday of December. And speaking of December, we will be doing the reindeer run this year. Again, I am looking for volunteers. I need 16
Oh, my God.
individuals to
Minimum.
assist with this run. So if you or anyone you know would like to volunteer, I will need, we were gonna need people to run the water tables. We're gonna need people to assist us, you know, just in general, getting things together. And we'd love to have you. So lots of opportunities to give back to your community.
Or you can just run the race.
You can sign up and run the race. That would be awesome too.
And then hang out to clean up.
Yeah, and then hang out.
You said the volunteer newsletter, is it attached to the weekly newsletter that comes out?
It is not. It's a
Okay.
separate entity.
Okay.
And you can locate that by either going to our website and clicking on quick links.
Okay,
And then there's a little, what's it called?
Communications, notifications.
Okay.
Yes, communications
Great.
notifications. Or you can walk right out here with your cell phone, wait for the marquee message to come around and scan the QR code. So, and if you can't find it, please reach out to me
Great.
and I will put you on the list. Just send me an email and say you want to get it, and I will definitely put you on the list.
Yeah, she started doing, because our need for volunteers is so great, especially with the new world that we're living in. But Amy took it upon herself to create this platform of regular communication, so it's not where you sign up, you tell us that you want to volunteer, and then you don't hear anything, and then 6 months later, we're like, hey, we have 5 events that we need your help with. So you're getting constant information, and it also keeps us in touch with some of our seasonal folks that do like to engage a lot when they do come down, and so that they know when they come down that they have activities and opportunities as soon as they land in Orlando, that they're ready to come and engage with their community. So.
It's our hope that that will also encourage people to come out and do things like clean up the Veterans Memorial Garden or the Rain Garden or beach cleanups, because they're aware of it. Because they might not all be on social media. They might not all, come to meetings or watch meetings. So it's just another way for us to reach the population. So I'm going to put you all down for volunteering, right? Joel says no. I'll put you all on the
Yeah.
volunteer list. Thanks for your time. Okay.
Garden and all the volunteer, beer tent or whatever, do we seek sponsorship? In other words, not contribution money, but like, I have a friend who's starting a nonprofit for fostering animals. And if she could hang a banner on a garden spot or a whatever, I just think, is that what Amy does too, seek sponsorship, for all these volunteer needs that we have? And secondly, I know we have a garden. I've lived here 6 years, but I don't know how to get a plot. I don't know what the deal is. I don't even know where to go to find out. And I'm not saying that's anybody's fault except my own maybe, but I was on the newsletter for the whole, Cape Canaveral. I'm not getting it anymore for some reason. Maybe I unsubscribed. I don't think I did. But, I would, do you have to be on Facebook and follow Cape Canaveral to find out what's going on?
Not necessarily,
How do you find out?
and Amy can check, because we can not only tell you who's on the list, but how many times you open things.
What
So,
list? You mean the,
for the weekly update,
oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and the volunteer newsletter.
Okay.
So we can track who clicks what, who opens what, and if somebody doesn't open the communications for, I think, over 6 months, we'll remove them from the list because we have to pay for additional subscribers.
Oh, okay.
So if
Okay.
somebody's not engaging, we'll eventually remove them from the list because that makes room for more
Okay.
people that are engaged.
So I'll take that.
As far as the garden is concerned, there's signage at the garden that explains who to call for
Oh.
that. It's right on the entrance to the main swing door at the corner of the
You
garden.
have to drive over there and find out, okay.
Well, you'd have to find a place to park.
Yeah.
So,
Across that big highway.
right, yeah, so
On my
it's very
bike.
reasonable that you weren't able to find that.
mean,
Beyond
I've seen
this,
it.
the sponsorship thing, one of the things that I had to reach out for, because we've had, it all depends on your leadership, it all depends on your community climate, your political climate when it comes to the sponsorship thing. So, because we've only dabbled in the past, when it comes to, getting Papa Vito's to bring out some free pizzas for a family game night or something like that, we've never done anything large scale. And when it comes to, like hanging banners on things, that's when we start dipping into the sign code. And so, like, we've allowed Little League to do it, provided that the banners face inside the field so that it's not totally public facing.
Okay.
But what I have done, because we know that our need for not only volunteers, but business and like fiscal sponsorships, or even like an adopt a park, adopt a garden type program.
Yeah, or
What
street
I've,
for cleanup, like they do in some places.
yes, and we do a lot of the cleanups. We already
You have
do,
sponsors like that own a street or something?
no, we just do beach cleanups.
Oh, right,
That
I
kind
know
of-
about those.
So when it comes to actual sponsorships, what I've done is reach out to the city attorney, because one of the things that we really need to get in place is a policy
Oh, okay,
before we start dipping into things, because when it comes to sponsorships and grants, it has to make sense. And you don't want to get involved in something that could be a black mark on the city, like getting involved. One example when it came to sponsorships that was part of my my master's degree training was a very lengthy discussion about the museums that were accepting money from Pfizer and the opioid problem.
well,
So
What I'm
establishing a
thinking-
policy for who takes what, who authorizes what, and what is considered an
well,
appropriate
like the Boy
sponsor.
Scouts, I don't know, I mean, and,
Oh, of
just saying,
course.
you don't have to pay them, but the Boy Scouts can be assigned one of the streets to keep it clean, or, you know,
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
I'm not talking.
But we would just want a
money.
policy in place.
Right, so that you know how to implement.
Staff
Yeah.
has guidance on
Yeah.
how to accept things,
Yeah.
how to facilitate things, and put things in writing so that the expectations are met.
And then I have one more question, and it's probably too late, but that's okay. Cherry Down Park, that big empty field,
That doesn't belong to the city.
darn it. Okay, because that would be a good place for a community garden with parking and the little kids right across the street and everything else, but who's that? The
That's the county.
Yeah, dang. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I did have something real fast. I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity to serve on this board. It's been a privilege. I love my city. I'm so thankful that we get to do this together. And so for all of you that volunteer and all of the city officials and all of you that work for the city, thank you. Thank you for making our city so wonderful, because I love it. And so,
I say the same thing. I've really enjoyed serving and I've loved the support.
absolutely.
We'll help you. Don't worry, you won't be bored.
I think Amy's waiting for you guys to sign up.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I would motion to adjourn.
We'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.